Hello, our dear listeners, and welcome to the webinar How Many Testing Types Does a Project Need? Hosted by QAtestLab. Thanks for joining us today. QAtestLab continues a series of live webinars dedicated to QA in testing. We are talking about specifics of software testing, QA team management, test approaches, and tools. We are analyzing tricky cases on real projects. Besides, we will tell at what stage of software development testing should be implemented and how to select a proper provider of QA services to build long-term business relations. We will try to prepare the most helpful and interesting topics for you to understand nuances of software testing and avoid any pitfalls. If you have any suggestions about the webinar topic, please write to marketing@QAtestLab.com. So today I'll be your speaker, and my name is Lyudmila Potomkina, and I am a program manager in QAtestLab company. There are many testing types that are called to verify and improve software quality. This can be the checking of product functionality, performance, security, user interface, configuration, and so on. But what exact type of testing will ensure a successful product release? Does functional testing have a top priority, or is security checking the most important? Can you omit user interface or usability testing? Many companies that develop and distribute software products know that complex and full testing helps to improve product quality and ensure a positive user experience. But what to do in case of limited budget and closed deadlines? What key activities are critical for a successful release? This webinar is aimed to provide answers to all these questions. Today you will learn how to ensure an optimal testing based on software specifics, available time frames, and project budget. A shot in the dark will cause additional expenses, omission of serious issues, negative user experience, thus failure of product, and loss of company's reputation. Even detailed functional testing cannot guarantee the product popularity among end users, as security bugs, compatibility troubles, or some usability issues can cause a product failure. You can use consultation services of software testing companies that will provide recommendations on what testing activities are critical for your product. But usually, people consider consultations as a way for testing companies to get more money, as they will impose their services expressing a sincere desire to help. To avoid such a situation, you should analyze the testing needs of your software on your own. The selection of proper testing type depends on several parameters connected with project specifics. The software specifics, including its time and purpose. Is it a website, e-store, game, online portal, and so on? Is your product developed to entertain or inform users? Define the main objectives of developed software. Target market and end users' expectations also help to prioritize the required testing types. You should fully understand and know your users to satisfy their needs. Probably a project budget is the main parameter for companies to define what testing types to select. But don't reduce QA expenses to a minimum, as it may cause the failure of your solution. Next comes a project deadline. If you have a release date strictly defined, then mind in while planning and scheduling testing activities. If you think that test automation is suitable for every software, then you are wrong. Also, don't conduct testing at the last second. You never know what issues you will detect and how much time you will need for their fixing. If you have your internal QA team, then take into account the competence of your specialists and available testing means. And expected compatibility of a ready solution influences on development procedure as well as on the testing one. You should decide whether it will be available on different platforms, operation systems, browsers or not. For you to better understand how to make right choice of testing type, I will tell about every parameter more precisely. Software type. There are various types of software products and each type has own requirements, conditions of use and other specific features. For example, you have a corporate website developed. What are the most important aspects of software of this type? Firstly, it should have a proper design of one unique style. No broken images and links. No illegible fonts or too bright colors. A corporate site is the face of your company. Everything should be easy to understand and clear for visitors. Provide only essential and useful data. Is load testing a must for a corporate site? Definitely not. So you can see that website design, user interface, and usability are critical for users. In case of online store, proper functionality is the most important thing. If your end users are unable to select a product, add it to a shopping cart, or make the payment, they will not use your online store never again. Users will not waste time trying to make a purchase. And moreover, you will not worry about the security of personal data as they have no opportunity to enter them at all. Apart from that, because of improper functionality, your users will not enjoy a perfect design on which you spend a lot of money. Actually, online stores are very tricky, especially during Black Friday and New Year's Eve. You should make sure that your own store will withstand high loads and users will be able to buy products without facing any crashes and breaks. If you are developing a digital wallet, then security is the core parameter. You should make sure that the system has a strong security and is well protected from hackers' attacks. All security vulnerabilities should be detected and removed before the product release. Otherwise, you will face a lot of complaints and even legal proceedings. All data, for example, personal and credit cards details, should be protected from different other users and online fraudsters. Security is also essential for online banking solutions. Sometimes it's rather difficult to predict troubleshooting situations. For example, we have such experience that you were developing an application for taxation where users would input data every 3 months. You would consider security the most critical thing for your application. You had functional and security testing performed. The release was successful, users download all applications. But at the end of the month, the system crashed. Why? Because of high loads. Usually people fill a tax declaration on the last day, so the system performance was not ready for high loads. Could you predict that? Probably not, as it was a real project case. A software type and needs of your end users are closely connected. Every development procedure, as well as the testing one, is user-oriented. Always mind who your end users are. You should have a clear vision of their needs and expectations. If you are developing a solution for young people, then it should have a modern design, be multifunctional, support sharing in social networks. Are they a feature important for bank employees or businessmen? No. They worry about the security of their data and proper operation of software. Rather often, a project budget is a stumbling block for proper software quality. Many people are sure that testing expenses should be minimal, as the more you spend on development, the better quality you will get. But this statement is rather doubtful. Because of increasing competitiveness in the market, a software of poor quality doomed to fail. Also, end users have high demands and requirements for software products. And to satisfy their expectation, you should provide a top quality software with wide functionality, strong security, interesting design, and intuitive interface. This is rather challenging. Testing helps to evaluate software quality and improve it, so QA activities cannot be omitted. Based on available budget, you can define what testing, manual or automated, you'd better conduct. But be careful. Test automation is not a panacea. Sometimes it can cause more troubles than advantages. For example, you were pretty sure that test automation would save more time than manual testing. You asked for automated checking. Test scripts were developed and ready for launch. But suddenly you decided to change some elements of product interface without saying that to QA team. As a result, automated test scripts are useless. Always share data with your QA team to avoid confusions that may cause extra spending. Or one more example. You are sure that only human testers can perform proper verifications of software quality. Your vendor recommended to automate cases as manual checking will take too much time. But you thought that vendor took care of his own profit and recommended test automation because it was more expensive. Even estimations for both manual and automated checking could not over-persuade you. All in all, you overpaid testing activities. So remember, buy nice or buy twice. This case is also commented with the next parameter, a project deadline. A project deadline also influences testing. If available time frames are too short, then focus on the most critical aspects of your software type. I have told about that before. A deadline helps to define whether you need manual testing or test automation. If you are going to release a product after the first development iteration and don't plan to add new features, then manual testing will be enough to ensure proper quality. But if a development procedure is long-term and you plan to expect functionality by adding new features, modules, and system parts, then you need test automation. It will help to monitor and check whether the old functionality operates properly without any side effects after the implementation of new features. If you have your own internal QA team, then you will select those testing types that your testers are available to conduct. For example, if your QA team consists only manual testers, they will not be able to perform required test automation because of their absence of skills and experience. So, you have to perform testing activities manually. Besides, testing meals also influence the choice of testing types. Having no tools for load or security testing, you cannot conduct a proper quality evaluation. The same is relevant for compatibility testing as well. Sometimes internal QA team only ties your hands, providing no alternatives. If you don't have the equipment required for testing, or your QA specialists don't have necessary skills, then you should better use the services of independent providers. The choice of testing type should also be based on such system characteristic as compatibility. But if you are developing a solution for bank officials who will use only one web browser, then you can skip this section. Nevertheless, the diversity of mobile devices, web browsers, operation system types, and their versions requires the development of software products that can support any of them. In such way, you will grasp more users. If your product supports 2 and more browsers, then you need cross-browser testing to make sure that it operates properly in different browsers. For example, if your website or portal works fine in Chrome, that not necessarily means that it will function correctly in Firefox too. You should check that. Developing a mobile application that supports different operation system types, you should check its functionality on various devices. You should conduct compatibility testing. Testing on devices of one brand with the same operation system can provide totally different results. If you don't want to read negative feedback from your irritated users, just add compatibility testing to your test plan. And it's very important not to use emulators for testing. They will not help to detect system issues. Vice versa, they can show bugs that will never occur on a real device. And you'll spend time and money on fixes, phantasms. Don't be afraid of a wide range of testing types and never limit your choice of testing activities if you have no ground reasons for that. Each testing type is aimed to improve software quality by detecting issues of certain system aspects. Analyze the mentioned parameters and on their basis select critical QA activities. Or you can use the services of independent testing providers who will provide an optimal solution directly for your product. That's all information from me. I noticed some questions during the webinar, and we still have a couple of minutes to answer these questions. The first one is such. In our project, developers conduct testing themselves. How do you think can we implement the testing automation? First of all, you need to do at least one iteration of manual testing to understand the weaknesses and strengths of the project. After that, you could choose the most stable part of the system and those parts you are planning to change, and start automating it. That's really good you have testing, but it's not very good practice to do it by developers because they have their own view to the project. If you have no time to find and coach QA engineers, just use independent testing companies. And the next question is, what programming languages should we choose when the testing automation is planned? It doesn't matter what programming languages you choose. You could do it on Java, C#, JavaScript, Python, and so on. You could use the languages your developers are familiar with, or from our side, we recommend Java as the most popular programming language. Thank you, all of you, for your time, and welcome to the next QAtestLab webinars. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you. Bye-bye.